Hello, my name is Sourdough Ken, and I'm going to make sourdough bread. In order to make sourdough bread, you need to have an active and lively sourdough starter that is ready to incorporate into your bread. Now you have to give your sourdough starter a bit of time to work before you bake the bread, so you usually do that the night before. This is my sourdough starter, and what started me on my journey to making sourdough bread was when we were visiting my son-in-law and my daughter in Canmore, and they always gave us this fantastic sourdough bread. And so I thought, I'd like to make sourdough bread. So my son-in-law, who is the sourdough baker in their family, gave me some starter. So in his honor, I'm naming my sourdough starter Trevor. So to start, you need to mix up enough sourdough starter to have ready in the morning for baking your bread. And I need 160 grams of sourdough starter for my recipe. So when you're feeding sourdough starter to get it ready, you need to add equal amounts of starter, flour, and water. So I usually try to make a little bit more than 160 grams. So, 70, 80. Just so that I have 160 grams in the morning. So I'm going to measure out and weigh out about 70 grams of starter. So I have a bowl here that I put on my scale, and it's handy to have a scale that you can zero out so that you can just weigh what's in the bowl. And so I'm going to add a little bit of starter to it. And I made a bit of a mess there. And that is good enough. That will give me enough. So now I need to weigh out. So I ended up with about 95 grams here. So I'm just going to use that. So I need 95 grams of water. And zero out my measuring thing and pour out some water. And just a smidgen too much. And there we have 95 grams of water. I pour that into the bowl with the starter. Give that a little bit of a stir, just so that's easier to mix when I add the flour. So now I need to have 95 grams of flour. So I'll just put the bowl back on my scale and zero it out. And then I'll add 95 grams of all-purpose white flour. And I use unbleached. So 95 grams. And we're getting close. Need a little bit more. And it's just a smidgen too much. And there we go. So now I've got my flour and my water and my starter in this bowl. So now I've got to stir it up and mix it up until it's nice and mixed up. And then I need to put this in a warm place for overnight until the morning. And in the morning it'll be nice and bubbly and waiting for me to make bread. So I've got it mixed up, and then I will just cover this with some plastic wrap, put it on the counter or on the stove. That's where I like to put mine, and it'll be ready in the morning. And in the morning we'll go into step 2 of making sourdough bread, which is mixing in your other ingredients. So we'll see you then. For now, this is Sourdough Ken signing off.